أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فقد قال الله عز وجل في كتابه العزيز واصبر وما صبرك إلا بالله ولا تحزن عليهم ولا تكن في ضيق مما يمكرون إن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون. وقال الله عز وجل في شان حبيبه مخبرا وآمرا إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصل عليه الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله. By the infinite grace and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are gathered here yet again in search of the mercy, forgiveness and salvation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also in hope to learn about the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, the struggles, and also following the footsteps of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. Yesterday we discussed the siege that took place, the boycott that took place, and how the Quraysh people dealt another blow or attempted to deal another blow to the message of Islam and to the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam. So they had tried all the different avenues. They had tried to mock the message of Islam, ridicule the message of Islam, attempt to physically torment and torture the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba ikram, but they failed in that. And then they carried on with various different ways of manipulation, by negotiating, by compromising, by temptation, by all of these ways and means, but they could not succeed because the message of Islam was pure and the patience of the Prophet ﷺ would not wear out whatsoever. And then yesterday, as we learned that the Prophet ﷺ had to leave Makkah al-Mukarramah and go to the valley between the two mountains just outside the outskirts of Makkah and stay there. They stayed there for 3 years. This is where they were besieged, this is where they were boycotted, and this is where the Quraysh, they put financial restrictions on the Prophet ﷺ, economic sanctions on the Prophet ﷺ. They couldn't do any business, they couldn't interact with anybody, they couldn't propagate the deen, they couldn't even marry any other person, so no food was coming in or going out. But in spite of that, all of these sanctions, all of these restrictions, none of the Sahaba ikram faltered. None of them gave in. None of them surrendered to the Quraysh. Neither did the Prophet ﷺ either falter in any way or form. So they persevered for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the reminder about all of this is that nothing comes easy. Everything in life that you want to achieve, if you want to achieve great success, then with great success you have to put a huge amount of sacrifice in as well. It requires a huge amount of sacrifice. And these are the sacrifices that we saw the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala and including the Sahaba ikram gave. They left the luxury of their homes, their properties, their wealth, their creature comforts, everything, sanitation, food. They left all of that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine today I say to you, Chalo, let's go with Brother Shahid, he's a trekker, let's go and sit and set up camp in the Lake District or somewhere like that. Imagine, you'd probably be eager for the first day, then after the second day when there's no TV and no WhatsApp and no charging facilities and there's no food and no kebabs anymore, you'd say, Chalo, be mad at that, or no Shahid's on. You give up. But the Sahaba ikram, they persevered without everything, they still persevered and they remained there to protect the message of Islam, to protect the purity of Islam, and more importantly to protect the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam. If you remember the Quraysh at that time, they were at the brink of killing the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam. So this was the place to protect the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam. This is where they went. Every night you recall Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam sleep in a different place. You would never sleep in the same place twice. Why? Just in case the Quraysh people would come and they would attack the Prophet ﷺ. Similarly, you won't know exactly where you sleep, which side of the bed you sleep on. So if somebody were to come in who knows your habits and your traits, it would be very easy for them to locate you and find you and assassinate you. So every single night, for 3 years, the Prophet ﷺ was going from place to place to place and place. Sayyidina Bilal would hide food underneath his armpits and come and smuggle that food in to feed the Sahaba, to feed the Prophet ﷺ. These are the hard situations that they were in and living in. They would eat the dry leaves, they would find food just from from the rocks and whatever they would find from in the area, in the barren land of Makkah. They would just eat what they could find. This is the situation they were in, and they did all of this solely to protect Islam, to safeguard their iman, and to protect the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the question that I asked all of you yesterday was that when it does come for you to sacrifice, whether it's your time, whether it's your wealth, or your experience, or your knowledge, whatever you may have, if it comes and you need to sacrifice in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you should not hesitate. The Sahaba Ikram left everything. Say that Khadija al-Kubra left everything. Prophet left everything. Why? Because protecting Islam was more important. And just like, I'll give you one day example, like Alex Ferguson, what did he do? He got rid of Beckham, didn't he? Because nobody's bigger than the team. Nobody's bigger than that. So he got rid of Beckham. Similarly, they look out for the greater good, for the greater picture as well. And this is what you need to do as well. You need to sacrifice the small things that you may have for the bigger picture, which is the picture of Islam, the sanctity of Islam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So those are the things that they went through, the 3 years of being ousted, 3 years of being made into pariah, the 3 years of being cut out from every single aspect of society, and staying there. Why? Because you believe in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when the time does come in your life where you stand up for the truth, you should not budge, you should remain steadfast and firm, even though they may take your wealth away, they may take your property away, they may take your children away, whatever they may do, you must remain on haqq, you must remain firm for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way the Prophet did. So today, inshallah, we'll discuss the year of sorrow. This is a very, very dramatic year in the life of the Prophet ﷺ. Before this, that he lost his father, he lost his mother, he lost his grandfather, he lost so many people who were close to him, dear to him, near to him, who were very, very affectionate towards him. He lost all of these people, and the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took them away, including his 2 sons, was to remind the Prophet ﷺ that don't be attached to this dunya, because all of us do that. We become attached to our close family friends, our loved ones, our wives, our children, and all of these things, in one way or form, they take us away from the zikr, shukr, and remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took these people away to test the Prophet ﷺ and to remind him of the true mission that he is on, the true mission of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and bringing people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here, at this moment in his life as well, at the age of 50, the Prophet ﷺ loses 2 very, very precious people to him, very beloved people to him. He loses his wife, Sayyidah al-Kubra, and he also loses his uncle as well, who protected him at every skirmish, at every instant, who protected him in every way and form. So he lost that person who was defending him and protecting him externally. Because Abu Talib was there, the leader of his tribe, saying, if you want to do it, come on, let's sort it out. And he was there and said, look, all of our tribe, our people, we will protect the Prophet ﷺ, because what he's saying and doing is the truth. And remember when they invited the Prophet ﷺ, they said, we will give you wealth and we will give you this and that. And how did he reply? That even if you give the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left, I will not budge from my mission. And at that point, Abu Talib said that I am with you, whatever you do and whatever you say, because I am with you. Because he knew the reality and the such of the Prophet ﷺ. So the Prophet ﷺ loses a great protection, for him externally, the protection of his uncle Abu Talib. And he also loses the internal protection, because externally we all have our friends and our family to get us through the highs and lows of life. Your friends say, "Chalo, you have funny hair," the patch on the back, and they make you forget things, and they say, "Chalo, let's go and have a meal over to the road," and you forget your sorrows of the day or whatever may have transpired. So your friends help you in one particular way or form. Externally, they're there to help you and support you, to guide you. But more importantly than that, it's your wife or your mother at home or your own children who help you internally. Outwardly, they can help you, they can support you, be your shoulders. But internally, you need that support as well. And the internal support of the Prophet ﷺ was Sayyidah al-Kubra, and would reassure him, would increase his iman, in terms of supporting his iman. And in every way and form, she was there, morally, religiously, she was there spiritually, she was there emotionally, for for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these two great events happened, and it's called the year of sorrow. The year of sorrow. This is how it is remembered and how it is described by the historian, that this was truly, without a doubt, the year of sorrow, the year of trials for the Prophet alaihi wasallam, when he lost Sayyidina Abu Talib and he lost Sayyidina Kubra radiallahu ta'ala anha. So inshallah we'll discuss this. So up until now we've come to the 10th year of the Prophet ﷺ's prophethood. So remember, we've done before the prophethood the 6 months or so, and then after the first 3 years, and 3 to 6 years, and then 6 to 9 years. So now finally we come to the 10th year of the Prophet ﷺ, the proclamation through Nabuwa and the invitation that he has called people towards Islam. So the siege has just finished, so he's returned to what Mukarramah is finally come back with. So after 3 years, as the Sahaba have, and he's in very, very poor physical condition. Not just the Prophet, but all the Sahaba, because they were living there, they had no food, they didn't have kebab, shabab, they didn't have anything. They didn't have hungry house to order from and to get a delivery. None of these things were available to them. Whatever food was smuggled in by their slaves or anybody else, that is what they survived on, and even the children as well. So the Prophet now try to imagine that in the 10th year he's come back finally into Makkah al-Mukarramah, and he's at the end, he's 50 years of age, and our people, especially our parents, in front of the radiator, in front of the fireplace, but the Prophet realized that the huge mission was in front of him, and he had to still achieve a huge amount. So as long as you are alive, never give up. There's no such thing as retirement. This is just something that has been made up by the world for you to say, Chalo, you've worked all your life, and now it's time for you to relax. But there is no relaxation. You are here sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to achieve a mission, achieve a goal, and your goal is not complete until you are buried in the earth. Up until then, you are still there, and you still need to carry on working for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is no real sense of retiring, because your mission is there until you pass away from this dunya. So the Prophet ﷺ realizes this. He's come back, he's very, very ill, he's very, very poorly, and he's in very, very bad health conditions. But in spite of that, he realizes that he still needs to carry on. The onslaught of the Quraysh and their tenacity and the severity of the torture and the different types of torture that they are doing is increasing day by day. It's increasing day by day. So he needs to find additional support. He needs to find extra strength. So he starts to think. He thinks in an innovative manner. He starts to look at alternatives, and he uses his initiative. So even at this age, he's not giving the purpose that, I did what I could, and this is what we say. Sometimes when we come and we've done something for the masjid, for our community, for Islam, I did the best I could. You can always do better. You should always try to do better as well. Look at the age of the Prophet ﷺ, thinking of ways on how to support the message, how to support Islam, and how to propagate Islam further. So he comes up with the idea of going on the outskirts of Makkah to a city called Taif, which is roughly 100 kilometers away from Makkah al-Mukarramah at that time. 100 kilometers away. I want you to keep this in your mind. So he thinks of this plan that he needs to go and find this additional support, and these are the people who were the enemies of the people of Quraysh at that time. So they didn't get on with each other because they're obviously opponents. So they didn't get on with each other. So imagine you go to your enemy, your enemy's enemy, and say, "Look, work with me, and let's try to do it." And the Quraysh naturally will find out, and this will cause an even more severe reaction. But we come back before we get to that particular incident of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam going to die. We'll go back to the loss of the Prophet's uncle and the loss of the Prophet's wife. And let be pleased with the group. So Abu Talib, he's tried at every single point in his life to protect the Prophet ﷺ. When he was brought to him as a child, as a young boy, he took care of him, and he provided for him as best as he could as well. He taught him how to learn, he taught him how to trade, how to sell merchandise, and all of these things. He tried to do the best that he could do as a father figure. And then as he grew up, as he developed, that he got him married off as well, and then he supported him when the Prophet ﷺ claimed prophethood. All of these things, so every single incident, Sayyidina Abu Talib, he never backed away. He was always there to support the Prophet ﷺ. And you remember that in the siege, in the 3 years, he stayed with the Prophet ﷺ at the age of 80. Which uncle will stay with you today? Imagine you saying, "Uncle, mein kaam karna hai, Chacha ji, and come with me and stay with me." They'll say, "Chal tu ja tera kaam kar." They wouldn't stand with you. But this is how much conviction, how much belief Abu Talib had for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was there with him at the age of 80. He left his home, left his property, left everything for the sake of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so he was a huge shoulder for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to rely upon and for that support as well. But this siege, the 3 years that he was there with them, he became critically ill. And then when he returned back to Makkah with the Prophet ﷺ, he passed away. Because this was his time, and obviously due to his age as well, and also his health, he passed away by the will and command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then, about 3 days or so, and some historians mention 7 days, between 3 days and 7 days, after the loss of the support and the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ also passed away, Sayyidah Khadija al-Kubra radiallahu ta'ala anha. So this was the only person that he had left. His father went away, his mother went away, his grandfather passed away, now his uncle had passed away. So the only person that he had left, essentially as a human being for support, was his wife, Sayyidah Khadija al-Kubra. The only refuge that he had, the safe haven that he had remaining, was in the arms of Sayyidah Khadija al-Kubra radiallahu ta'ala anha. And I just want to share with you how she passed away. It's very important for those people who are married. The way she passed away was in the arms of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is how she passed away. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he loved her immensely. We've read stories of Romeo and Juliet and this Raja and whatnot. These are all, worldly loves. This is the true love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had. The love of the soul, the love of the deen, the love of Iman. This is what really brought them together. And this is the love that cannot be severed, cannot be broken. So if you love your spouse, don't just love them for their physical attributes, because they look nice in particular clothing or they have a particular smile and all of these things. Yes, these are good and these attract us to our other partners, but you should love them for their soul. You should love them for their character. You should love them for their iman. This is what's most important. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when she passed away in the embrace, in the arms and the warmth of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look at how she lived her life and where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted her death, in the arms of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And at this very point when she passed away, Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam, he descended from the heavens. And up until this time, he would only come down from the heavens to reveal a verse from the Quran. So for no other purpose, no other reason would Jibreel alayhi salam descend from the heavens, only to reveal a verse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this was the first time that Jibreel alayhi salam came down from the heavens and he shared a message with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also with Sayyidah Khadija al-Kubra radiallahu ta'ala. Just before she was passing away, she was at the brink of returning back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he descends from the heavens by the command and order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these are the words of Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam. This is the message of Jibreel alayhi salam, that he says that he is addressing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that greet her on behalf of her Lord. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending salam upon your wife Sayyidah Kubra radiallahu ta'ala, and give her the glad tidings of having a palace made out of pearls in the gardens of paradise. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has rewarded her for her support, for her love, for her affection, for her relationship, for everything that she has given for the sake of Islam. Yes, for the sake of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but she did it for the sake of Islam as well. This is the reason why she did it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent his salam upon Sayyidah Kubra and giving her glad tidings of having a palace, i.e. Allah has given her ownership of that palace. This is yours of me, this is your palace, this is your place. This is the palace made of by pearls in paradise, where there will be no noise, there will be no fitna, no fasad, no fatigue, no troubles, nothing whatsoever. Unlike the shor sharaba that happens outside the masjid, Allah said there will be a place of complete peace and tranquility. This is the place that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had promised in Kubra at that time, just before she was passing away. And then look at the jawab, look at the reply of Sayyidah Kubra radiallahu ta'ala, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is informing her of this. And she says, indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of peace. Just the way that we do the dua, Allahumma anta salam. Indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the infinite source of peace. So she is saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of peace. From him comes all peace. And then peace be on Jibreel alayhi salam as well. This is how she replied to the glad tidings that were given to her by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she dies in the most peaceful of ways. Imagine, where else, how much peace could you ever want? You're there in the arms of your husband, in the arms of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala, in the arms of the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and salam is descending upon you from the heavens, glad tidings is descending upon you from heavens, and you reply also in peace and salam back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Jibreel alayhi salam. This is how she died, so peacefully, with content, and this is how lucky she was, how she died within the arm of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. And just try to ask yourself, how will your death be? Where will you be? In which alley will you be? Which gully will you be in? Which program will you be watching? Which TV channel will you be on? In whose arms will you be in? On whose path will you be on? When your death approaches you and it comes to you, who will you be with? And how peaceful will your death be? You will know from your own experience that when your own family members and friends pass away, at the time of death, those people will not tread upon the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the footsteps of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When they're passing away, they're worried about their wealth, they're worried about their jaidat, about their zameen and this and that. And they're telling you all of these nasiha, telling you the last will. Their life and their death is not that of peace. And look at you live a life of peace, a life of Islam, a life of submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When death approaches you, then you will be in a state of complete tranquility, complete contentment, complete satisfaction with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How many people die due to an overdose of drugs? How many people die due to an overdose of alcohol and so many other things? Driving and drug driving and so many other things. Look at how their death comes to them. But look at how the death of Sayyidatina Kubra radiallahu ta'ala came to her as well. So always try to strive towards peace. Strive towards pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when death will approach you, then you will have that satisfaction and that peace and tranquility in your heart as well, and you will go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prophet ﷺ, he informs the Sahaba Ikram that when the death of a believer comes, a true believer who submitted himself and lived his life for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his soul is taken away from his body just the way a single hair is taken away from flour. Flour is very, very fine, it's very, very soft. You can put your entire hand in there, you won't feel anything. You take anything out, it will be very, very light, very, very easy. And this is how death comes upon a believer, a person who submitted himself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's just like taking the soul, it's like taking the hair out of flour. You don't feel it whatsoever. This is how a believing person's soul will be taken from them. But those people who do not believe, who do not submit themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their soul will be taken away from them, from their body in a very, very painful way. So make sure that you submit yourself the way Sayyidatina Kubra radiallahu ta'ala anha did, and live a life of peace the way that she did, and have a death that she did, where she died in the arms of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam, and the message from the heavens is descending upon her, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending his salam upon you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you glad tidings of the hereafter. This is how it's important to connect with your spouse, connect with your partner, not just due to their physical attributes, not just because of their status, of their wealth or anything else, but connect with their soul, connect with their iman, connect with their character, and this you will find that peace and tranquility in their heart. We go to our wives and our spouses, we don't find that satisfaction. We'd rather have, another lady hug us, we'd rather have somebody else hug us and reassure us or give us that peace and tranquility, and not our wives. Why? Because their face is no longer attractive. They no longer have money, they no longer have that status. Love them for their soul, love them for their iman, the way the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala loved his wife, and the way Sayyidatina Kubra radiallahu ta'ala loved the Prophet as well. And look at how faithful the Prophet was towards his wife. So even after she passed away, look at how faithful he remained to his wife and to the friends of his wife. Every time the Prophet would sacrifice meat, sacrifice a sheep or a goat, or have any large amounts of meat, he would always send a portion of the meat to the friends of Sayyidatina Kubra radiallahu ta'ala. And this is one of the nasiha of the Prophet that when your loved ones pass away, make sure you maintain ties of friendship with her friends. So whoever your wife's friends were, stay with them, stay in contact with them. Why? Because he used to please her when she was there with them, when she was alive as well. And this is how the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala showed his love towards his wife even after she passed away. So, subhanAllah. And at this moment in time, I want to share with you and dispel the myths and the claims of the Orientalists, because many of the Orientalists claim the Prophet married for the sake of lust, he married for the sake of pleasure, because he craved to marry women and have women. We know this is not the truth, because up until the age of 25, he didn't marry whatsoever. That person who is rampant and his hormones are running and raging through him, he will marry immediately as he turns body. The Prophet rejected him himself, maintained his dignity and his honor. He only married at the age of 25, and when he married, he remained loyal to Sayyidatina al-Kubra radiallahu ta'ala anha. And even after she passed away, the Prophet ﷺ mourned her, and he remembered her so much that the Sahaba would constantly reassure the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ never married immediately after Sayyidatina al-Kubra radiallahu ta'ala anha passed away. He took care of his daughters, Sayyidatina Fatima al-Zahra radiallahu ta'ala anha. He took care of the Quran and revealed that Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel, that indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sufficient for you. Ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. The best of guardians, the best of protectors is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The best of guardians, this is what we need to rely upon, the way the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala relied upon him as well. Other verses to reassure the Prophet that wasbir li hukmi rabbika fa innaka bi a'yunina, that be patient with the hukm, with the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wasn't being patient. He wasn't shouting and screaming and saying, why me, or hitting himself and saying, none of these things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving this hukm for all of us, that be patient with the hukm, with the order of your Lord. فَإِنَّكَ بِأَعْيُنِنَا, for indeed you are in our sight. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is seeing the way that you stand up, the way you sit, your heart, the state of your heart, the state of your mind, every action that you do, that you feel, that you go through. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is seeing that, and He knows that. So how would you like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to see you? Do you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to see you and you are screaming and shouting and saying, Ya Allah, why me? And hitting yourself and being ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is this how you want to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to perceive you? No. Always in a state of patience, in a state of shukr, the way the Prophet was towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Other verses that were revealed at this time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, Rabbul Mashriqi wal Maghribi la ilaha illa huwa fattakhidhu wakila, that indeed your Lord is the Lord of the East, He is the Lord of the West, and therefore take Him as your God and as your protector, because He is the one who will protect you and take care of all of your affairs. So this is to reinforce the Iman and the faith of the Prophet ﷺ, to remind us as well that this life is indeed a test, and the Prophet has gone through so many tests up until this time, and we must always rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as they say in the UK, you must keep calm and carry on. And this is the message coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, you've gone through all of these trials and tribulations, but you must remain calm. Keep your cool, and you have to carry on. Carry on with what? With the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, with the mission that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you as well. By screaming and shouting, how many times do you listen to your children when they're screaming and shouting? You don't just ignore them, well, that doesn't matter when you look at. And when they come to you, then that's when you deal with them, because you know they're not going to listen when they're screaming and shouting. So keep calm, carry on with all the situations that you may be in your life, and carry on for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now the siege has happened, they've come back, the Prophet has lost his uncle, he's lost his wife, all of these things have happened, but none of this deters the Prophet from his mission. Imagine those people who pass away from our lives are seeing, you know, and you lose the will to live, you lose the will to carry on. But no, you have to carry on, because life still continues. And the Prophet said, you don't just sit at home, that's it, I'm going to just mourn for the rest of my life. No, he carries on, and he starts thinking of innovative ways and ideas and how he can propagate the message of Islam and continuously support Islam as well. So he comes up with the idea of finding additional support in the city of Taif. And Taif, as I mentioned to you at the beginning, was 100 kilometers away from the city of Makkah at that time. Taif and the people of Taif, and especially the three leaders of Taif, they were rivals with the Quraysh. They were rivals with the Quraysh. So the Prophet was thinking that if I can get them on my side, then I will have this additional support, and Islam will be further strengthened as well. But at the same time, it comes with a huge risk. That if I go to them and they reject my message as well, then they will go and align their allegiances with the people of Quraysh as well, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So they will go and align with the Quraysh people as well. So this can make even a worse situation scenario for the message of Islam, for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Prophet balances these two things and still goes, I think this is a good option for me to go and to call to the city of Taif and ask them and invite them to the call of Islam. So he goes there, and even though the Prophet ﷺ in one way fails in his mission by calling these people and getting them to accept Islam, this failure was short term. However, the success of the Prophet ﷺ was long term. So when you do have a plan in your life and you go out to achieve a particular program, whether it's in business, whether it's in society, wherever you may go, even if you fail, that doesn't mean you should stop and think that's it, all of my hard work and efforts have gone down the drain. No, your efforts will come to fruition maybe later in the future. And this is exactly what we see, that even though Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to Taif and they rejected the message of Islam, short-term rejection was there, but later on, long-term, the entire city of Taif became Muslim and they accepted Islam and Islam became stronger. And had the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam not gone there in the first place, they would not have been exposed to the message of Islam as well. So always, whenever you have an opportunity to share Islam, don't think that I'm going to be rejected and they're automatically going to shun me away. Go there and do whatever you can and leave the success in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this teaches us the importance of always trying, persisting and carrying on as well. Just where we've learned so many other important lessons of, when you go to Abyssinia and how it's important for you to prepare and understand the local people, integrate with the local people, communicate with the people as well. This is the same with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's trying different things and trying to make Islam innovative and successful at that time as well. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam decides to go up to Taif. And this is a very important thing to consider, because Taif is not, it's not like Ashton, and it's not like Stadium, it's not like Duckenfield, it's not like Orange, it's just up the road, it's 100 kilometers away. And he realized that if he takes a camel, the Quraysh people will become suspicious that when he's taking a camel, therefore he must be going on a long distance, and he might be going to here, and therefore this is, dangerous for us, and let's go and stop him and prevent him from doing this. So the Prophet realizes this, and he understands this, so he doesn't take the camel. Similarly, he doesn't take Umar ibn Khattab and with him, neither does he take Abu Bakr Siddiq, these prominent people. He doesn't take any of these people, he just takes his slave with him, which is Zayd. Remember Zayd? He's a doctor's son originally, and then he freed him for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he takes Zayd with him, because nobody would suspect that the Prophet is going long distance. Who would, in their right mind today, let alone, 1400 years ago, think about walking 100 kilometers in the baking sun, especially in the Arabian Peninsula at that time, especially just going with your slave. They assumed that he's just going for one of his different errands and he'd be back in Egypt. So they didn't think anything of that, and they allowed the Prophet to go. So this shows the brilliant planning of the Prophet that whenever you do plan, if you want your plan to be successful, you need to understand all of the situations, all of what's the word that I'm looking for? All of the risks. All of the risks. You basically make an assessment of the risks and realize what to do and what not to do. And this is exactly what the Prophet has done. Not just relying entirely upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you use your means, the best of your ability, your knowledge and your experience, and then you rely for the success upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he takes his slaves in Haris at that time, and he goes, and he's not in a state of despair. He's not despairing even though he's lost his uncle, he's lost his wife, even though they're about to go on this journey of 100 kilometers, and it takes them 4 days by foot. Imagine today you telling your father, go 100 kilometers for my sake. You'll start your process to a bigger and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for your sake, for the sake of Islam, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the baking sun walked 100 kilometers. Day and night without a camel, just with his slave, and he didn't even take any provisions of food with him. Why? Because he would great suspicions. So he did that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He did that for our sake. He did that for the sake of Islam. So when it does come for you in your life to walk for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to walk to protect Islam, to walk to propagate Islam, then you should not hesitate, because the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala doesn't hesitate. We think, why is all I have to do a marathon 10 kilometers? It's too much for me, I'm not ready for it. But 100 kilometers the Prophet was doing, he never despaired, he never gave up hope. Similarly, you should never give up hope for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and do whatever you need to do for the sake of Islam, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant you success. So look at the determination of the Prophet ﷺ. Try to just close your eyes and imagine today, Makkah, going all the way to Taif, or even from here, all the way down to Stoke-on-Trent, or further than that, to even Birmingham, walking. Imagine doing that. The Prophet ﷺ was doing that. Why? To protect the Muslims in Makkah, to protect Islam, to propagate Islam, and to strengthen Islam as well. So this is what he did at the age of 50. So he wasn't sat at home, in front of his fireplace, in front of his TV, and say, oh, put the khana like here, or anything like that, or none of these things. He was an active member. was an active part of the religion. This is what we need to remind our parents as well, that life doesn't stop at 50 or 65 and you can retire. There's no such thing as retiring in Islam. You have a mission till the day that you die, and you must carry on with your mission as well. You must remain active within your capacity, whatever you may do. Get off the backside and get out into the community and do whatever you can do for the sake of Allah, for the sake of your community, for the sake of your people, for the sake of Islam. This is what the Prophet was doing at the age of 50. He's walking 4 days, day and night, and he's telling us, teaching us that you must always try, you must always remain determined. And he approaches it, and he enters into the city of Taif. And what happens? He immediately goes to the leaders. And this is an important aspect for us to remember. Remember the Prophet ﷺ sent the Sahaba Ikram on the first migration, and they went to Abyssinia, they went directly to the king, and they approached the king and they addressed the king as well. They gave him their due respect as well. Similarly, the Prophet ﷺ here is going to the leaders of that tribe, of the area, and addressing them and trying to convince them. And look at how they replied. Everybody knows the replies that they gave. There were 3 leaders. The first leader, he says, didn't Allah find anyone better than you to send? So immediately, he's rejecting the Prophet ﷺ. The second leader, he replies, either you are a real prophet, so great that I cannot talk to you, or you are a mere liar, so that I do not want to talk to you at all. So you're either a prophet and you're so great, that you're way beyond us, that I can't talk to you, or you're such a liar that I don't want to talk to you. And then the third man, he says, I swear to God that if I saw you hanging on the walls of the Kaaba, I will not come to your aid, and I will still not believe that you are a messenger from Allah. So this is the reply. This is the reply. So the Prophet ﷺ, before he went, he knew the hostility that these people would have. He knew all of the possible answers that these people would come up with, but it did not deter him, because you have to try. If you haven't tried, you don't know the outcome, you don't know what's going to happen. And just because things may seem unsurmountable, that you can't overcome this, that shouldn't deter you from actually trying to attempt it. If you fail, get up again, try again. If you fail, get up again and again and again. Because it will teach you different ways and different methods on how to succeed and how not to try one particular way forward. So after this, Prophet ﷺ, he heard their rejection. The only thing that he asked them was that one is that they do not inform the people of Quraysh, people of Makkah. Why? Because he knew it would have ramifications when he would return. And the second thing that he asked was that to allow him and his slave Zayd bin Harish to leave in peace. That we haven't come with any harm whatsoever towards you, and therefore you should allow us to return back without harm. But they refused. They refused both of these two things, and they said, no, we will inform the Quraysh. And they sent a messenger on a wall and said, go and this is what they did. And the second thing that they did is that they gathered all of the fools, all of the Balaam people, all of the children from their city, from Taif, and they ordered them and instructed them to start pelting stones at the Prophet ﷺ. And so here they are, they're pelting the stones at the Prophet's face, at his hands, at his body, at his feet. And Zayd bin Haris is trying to protect the Prophet ﷺ. He's not caring about himself, he's trying to protect the Prophet ﷺ. But in spite of all of his efforts, the Prophet ﷺ is bleeding from his face, he's bleeding from his feet, and they're trying to find shelter, and they try to go, and they remove themselves and try to run away from that city, try to find protection away from these people and their torture that they're doing. Imagine your father today going walking 100 miles or 100 kilometers. Why? Just to get you something that you really, really want, or get maybe a PS4, whatever you may want, and on the way, because of your father trying to fulfill your wishes and your desires, they receive this form of punishment, they receive this form of torture. How would you feel? Try to feel how the Prophet ﷺ felt. Try to imagine the emotions the Prophet ﷺ is going through. He is bleeding for our sake, for the sake of Islam, to propagate Islam, to strengthen Islam. He's there, and he's trying to protect himself. And this is the situation the Prophet ﷺ is in. And then they finally find an orchard which is just on the outskirts of the city of Taif, and this is where eventually the kids and the fools and everybody else that leave the Prophet ﷺ. So what would your reaction be? Imagine that your mom and dad have sent you to go and speak to Fulana, and that person disrespects you, dishonors you, swears at you, and then he tortures you. When you come back, would you come back to your parents and be happy and grateful and say, you wouldn't be in a state of resentment, of hatred, and thinking, why did you ever do this to me? So this is the Prophet ﷺ. He could have been going through all of these emotions. He could have had this particular response, but he didn't. His response was still positive. His response was still in line with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the first thing that he does, when when he sits down there in the orchard, he doesn't start tending to his wounds, he doesn't start his blood flowing or anything like that. The first thing that he does is raises his hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and does a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a dua I want to share with you. That he says, to you Allah only, I complain of my weakness and of my weakness of my power and the lack of my authority, and my disgrace among people. You are the Lord of the universe. You are the one to aid the miserable. You are my Lord. To whom do you lead me to? To a remote one who would scorn me, or to a relative that would control me? If you are not angry at me, then I will not mind whatever happens to me. However, your forgiveness is nearer to me, and I seek refuge by the light of your ever magnificent face, through which the deep darkness shine, and by which both world and hereafter are upright. For in your anger or wrath to befall me, you have the right to blame me until you are pleased with me, and there is no might or power except me. So he is beseeching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not saying, Allah ta'ala, what have you done because of you again, over again. He didn't say any of these things. He actually tells Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that it is my weakness, it is my failure that I have been able to fulfill the true message of Islam, and I have been able to propagate sincerely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he's not complaining to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that look at what you've done. And we would have done this. We were making our parents because of you again, because of you again. And we shout at them and we scream at them. But no, we just do dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, whatever hal that you keep me in, whatever state that you keep me in, as long as you are happy, as long as your wrath and your anger is not upon me, I don't care about the dunya, I don't care about the people, I don't care about the worlds, I don't care about their torture, I don't care about anything as long as you are happy and satisfied with me. So when you go out and you sacrifice for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether it's your time or your wealth or your expertise or your knowledge, and people reject you and say, look at you, but don't look at the people, don't look at their words, don't look at what they say or what they do to you. Look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As long as He is happy with you, He is content with you. It doesn't matter, because you're not there to seek the pleasure and the happiness and the satisfaction of the people. You're there to seek the satisfaction and the happiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is how he turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How many of us would turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that circumstance? If we did, we would be in a state of complaint and not in a state of happiness or gratitude, that whatever you do, whatever you command is, I am happy with that. So this is how the Prophet ﷺ turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he's there in the orchard, and the owners of the orchard, they look at the Prophet ﷺ and they feel pity for him. Who wouldn't? I mean, just as a normal human being, if you see somebody who's down, he's on the floor, who's crying, or somebody who is bleeding, naturally as a human being you feel sorry for that person. So even though these people are non-Muslims, they still feel this pity on the Prophet ﷺ and the Prophet ﷺ. So they tell one of their own slaves, and his name was Abbas, they tell one of his own slaves who was working in the orchard to go and take these grapes and go and give it to that man. This is obviously how they show their humanity to the Prophet ﷺ. So imagine now somebody coming to you, you've just been beaten and pelted, and you might naturally think that he's going to attack me as well, something's going to happen to me, so let's be on the defensive or offensive, or let's run away. Prophet ﷺ, he remains calm. And it's very, very important that whatever situation that you may be in, very important to keep your cool, and to keep calm in any particular situation. So the Prophet ﷺ, when he remains calm, he sees this slave coming to him, and his name is Abbas, and he gives the grapes to the Prophet ﷺ. So Prophet ﷺ could have started eating the grapes. He could have started sharing his sorrow and all the problems with the slave and with the people or the owners of the orchard at that time, but he doesn't. He takes this opportunity and he sees the opportunity for da'wah. So here is a man, here is a messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's bleeding, he's got wounds, he's emotionally down, physically down, so many things that have happened to him. He's just lost his uncle, he's just lost his wife, and this is how people of Taif have treated him, and all of these things have happened to him. And he doesn't just think about himself, he sees that opportunity for da'wah. And he speaks to him, and he takes the grape, and he doesn't say, Bismillah quietly. The Prophet doesn't. He thinks that this is an opportunity for me to do da'wah to this person, so allow it. The Prophet says, Bismillah. So he immediately takes the intention of this person at that. Imagine if somebody comes to you, and they're wounded and everything, but you actually begin in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will grab their attention. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam he immediately begins with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and that person, Adas, is a very, very young person. He says, "These are not the words of the people of this land. We don't talk like this, and this is not how we begin our thing." So he's immediately interested, he's inquisitive. And it's very important for us to make sure that whenever we approach our brothers and sisters, especially youngsters, we make Islam, we use their inquisitiveness and attract them to Islam by showing these things and making them question. Because by fitrat, by nature, every child always wants to know, why are you saying this? Why are you doing this? Why are you behaving like this? The Prophet realizes this, and he uses this opportunity for da'wah, and he begins in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah says that this is not the way that our people talk or how they begin any of their meals. So the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala asks him, then, who are you? Then he introduces himself, and he says, my name is Adas. And the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala he then asks him more questions, so where are you from? And he says, well, I'm from Nineveh, from the city of Iraq. Prophet sallallahu ta'ala immediately says, oh, you're from that city where Yunus alayhi salam was from. Jonah, you know Jonah and the whale? Yunus ibn Matta, this is the city where Yunus alayhi salam was from. Oh, so you're from there, so look at how he's trying to attract that boy, try to use the knowledge that Prophet has to incline him towards Islam as well. So similarly, when you walking with your Christian friends, or your Jewish friends, or any other person from any other faith, don't hide your faith and say Bismillah ar-Rahman quietly, or try to conceal your faith. No, share it with them, because they will naturally ask you, why did you just say that? And then you have an opportunity for da'wah. Similarly, if you're at work, don't just go into the corner of your workplace and open your roza. Share it with everybody. It's an opportunity for you to say, I'm opening my roza. This is what we believe. This is what we are doing. It's an opportunity. It's a da'wah. For example, he could have just eaten the grape, stayed quiet, and just gone on his way. But he didn't. He used this opportunity. He didn't think about himself, but thought about Islam. So the Prophet ﷺ is saying, well, Adas says to him, well, do you know him? You know, this Yunus that you're talking about? The Prophet says, yes, of course I know him. He's my brother in faith. We all are from the same family. We are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when the time comes in Christmas, when the time comes at any other opportunity, and they're talking about Isa alayhi salam, they're talking about Musa alayhi salam, talk about them the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has talked about those messengers, and share with those people what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us in the Quran. Never waste an opportunity for da'wah. This is what the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala was using that opportunity positively for da'wah and sharing. And then you know what he did? This very young boy, Adas, when he heard this, that he began, the Prophet said, in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful, the most kind. And then he said that, I know that man, he's a great prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he's my brother, just like we are the brothers to the Christians as well, because Isa alayhi salam was a brother of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So then Adas, at that time, when he realized that they are there. Just like when you go abroad and you see a Pakistani, or you may have hundreds of people speaking English or another language, but as soon as you hear somebody speaking Pakistani, you immediately get attracted to that person. Why? Because apna banda hai. So jitna bhi hoya, Guzar Khan hai, jitna bhi hoya, apna Pakistani hai. You are attracted, and this is what Prophet uses. He attracts that child, that boy, by saying, I'm his brother. We're related in faith as well. Or you're from that city, so he's trying to build that connection. This is what we need to do as well. Not just separate ourselves. We are Muslims, you are Christians, you are Jews. Connect, build bridges, interfaith, dialogue, communication is very, very important, because we are from the same family. We're not different. We are from the same source that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Adam alayhi salam. So after this connection, Prophet creates, look at the reaction of this boy, that he goes and he immediately kisses the feet of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. You have to connect to people, and they will automatically come to you as well. So this is the Prophet ﷺ, and Adas at that time, even though he can see Prophet ﷺ is bleeding and his feet are bleeding, he doesn't look at that. He goes and he kisses the feet of the Prophet ﷺ, almost to say that, hey, you're my relative, you're my cousin. And at the same time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he heard the dua of the Prophet ﷺ, that I only turn to you and I only speak to you and I don't care whatever these people do to you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through this slave, through this boy, was reassuring the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala that those people may harm you, they may throw stones at you, but look, I will send this boy and he will kiss your feet, he will lick your wounds and he will kiss you. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reassuring the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala look at how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always provide a way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replies to the dua of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala in this way, that I am content with you, I am happy with you. Therefore, look at this boy, he's coming and he's appreciated you and he's acknowledged you and he's also kissed your blessed feet, even though those feet are bleeding. So never despair from any situation, whatever you may be in. Know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always make a way Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, what was the most difficult time in your life? What was the most difficult time in your life? Prophet ﷺ replied, it was the time of Taif, when he went to Taif. Obviously everything related to that as well, but he said it was also the most best time that I had as well, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listened to my dua, and he was happy with me, and he was content with me, and he was satisfied with me as well. So at this time, Jibreel alayhi salam, Prophet alayhi salam has left the orchard, he's making his way back towards Makkah al-Mukarramah. And Jibreel alayhi salam descends with another angel. So only up until this time, Jibreel alayhi salam would only descend himself. But now, another angel descends with Jibreel alayhi salam, and Jibreel alayhi salam informed the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam that Allah has heard your people's words and what they have said to you and how they have dealt with you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has now sent this angel, who is the angel of the mountains, and whatever you command him to do, he will do that. So the Prophet ﷺ, at this time, he can seek vengeance. He can seek retribution. He can punish them for the actions that they did, for the words that they said, and for how they dealt with the Prophet ﷺ. This is under the Prophet ﷺ's power, under his control. It's up to him. So the angel of the mountain, he comes to the Prophet ﷺ, and he greets the Prophet ﷺ, and he says, whatever you command me to do, if you command me to take these two mountains and crush the entire inhabitants of the city of Taif, then I will completely and utterly destroy them. The Prophet ﷺ, in spite of everything that was done to him, in spite of all of the things that were done to him, he chooses mercy over vengeance. He chooses mercy over retribution. He chooses love and forgiveness over any of those other things that we would have chosen. So the next time, people may have wronged you, they may have said things to you, they may have done things to you physically, choose the way of the Prophet ﷺ, choose the way of forgiveness, choose the way of mercy, because the Prophet ﷺ said at that very point that maybe, and I hope and I do a dua, that from this very city, from this very nation, those people will come in the future who will accept in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follow in my footsteps and the footsteps of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala. So from one way, the short term, if you look at it, yes, there was failure, but the Prophet ﷺ was looking at the long term, and there was without a doubt success in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that entire city, that entire place accepted the faith of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is what happened to the Prophet ﷺ in the city of Taif. And there's obviously a few more things that I want to share with you, and how the Prophet ﷺ returned, what happened, but inshallah we'll carry on with that tomorrow. Needless to say, it's very important to remember the sacrifices of the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba Ikram, our perseverance, our persistence, and how we must constantly strive towards pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whatever the dunya may do, the words that they may say, and the things that they may do, we must try to overcome that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and success will be with us. If it's not in the short term, then success will always be with us in the long term, in the hereafter with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll cover the story where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes the Prophet ﷺ from Makkah to Medina to Jerusalem, and takes him into the heavens. So the story of the Isra and Mi'raj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to attend it again, and also to follow sincerely in the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ. Please remember to fulfill your checklist that I've mentioned to you, the recommendations of the Prophet ﷺ, the 6 things that you must do on a daily basis in the month of Ramadan: to pray 5 salahs on time without failure and without delaying them. The second was to do excessive dua for yourself, for your family and the ummah. Third thing was
charity.
Make sure you give as much charity as you can, especially in the month of Ramadan. Fourth, make sure you maintain the ties of kinship with your family and your friends as well, and your neighbors, whoever they may be in the community. It's important for you to be with them, spend time with them, and be part of this community, part of this society. Fifth thing,
Do one extra good deed a day.
Read the Quran excessively. And the 6th thing was that every single day, make sure you do an extra good deed for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.